Welcome all, and thanks for joining our webinar today. The goal of this webinar is primarily to introduce MPS, which stands for Migration Primer Service from ETZ Global. Now, what this is a package of services designed to assist SAP customers with their digital transformation goals, specifically with regards to the migration from ERP to S4 HANA and migrations from on-premise to the cloud. This webinar will be approximately 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes, after which we will answer any questions posed during the webinar in a Q&A session. Again, thanks for joining. Let's continue. Before we get into the meat of the webinar, I'd like to just introduce ETZ Global a bit and inform you about our credentials and where we've been and where we're going. So ETZ was established in 2016 by a team of highly experienced technical SAP professionals who've worked together for about 14 years or so on other engagements. And the primary focus was to assist customers, SAP customers, move their SAP workloads into the cloud, and then the ongoing support and management of these customers, and providing excellent service and vast technical expertise. We're partners with both AWS and SAP, having earned the AWS Partner of the Year in 2020 in the SAP practice, and we're also a Microsoft Azure cloud provider. We've built a team that is skilled and experienced, motivated, and recognized by peers as a thought leader on SAP workloads, and also the hosting of these workloads in the cloud or on-premise. So what is digital transformation? I've mentioned this phrase earlier on, and our MPS package is designed to assist customers with their digital transformation goals. But it may help to just unpack it for a bit. Simply put, and very basically, it is the transformation of services by replacing older digital technology with newer digital technology. And for the purposes of this webinar, we focus on two main areas. Firstly, it's the functional transformation in the SAP world, and secondly, it's the technical transformation, and this is in the form of migrating workloads from on-premise into the cloud. In the first area, in the SAP context, we talk about the migration from older legacy ERP applications to next-gen ERP or S4 HANA, and the benefits for adopting next-gen ERP are numerous, but specifically the use of in-memory database technology, the integration of core processes into a single system by refining architecture and data models for the modern organization, and the ability for organizations to manage and process big data. The second area of focus is cloud computing, and we'll go into more detail later as to the benefits for adopting this technology. But primarily the benefit is the ability to scale services on demand according to your needs by using virtual as opposed to physical resources. In the context that we are focusing on, which is namely SAP ERP conversions and adopting cloud technology, there are thought to be three main digital transformation types or archetypes in the wider industry. Firstly, we have migrators, what are called migrators, and these are concerned with adopting cloud technology for their transformation goals. And for SAP workloads, this is usually in the form of migrating from traditional on-premise infrastructure into vendors on-demand IaaS or infrastructure as a service on a pay-as-you-go model. This is also called lift and shift, as the applications themselves are not altered, but are merely moved into the cloud, and they will function exactly as they would have in the on-premise location. Secondly, we have the innovators, and they're called this because they adopt innovations offered by next-gen ERP, and this usually involves a conversion process from their legacy applications. It requires an analysis and possible transformation of existing business processes and functionality, and they also adopt efficiencies and functionality made available by next-gen ERP, such as SAP S4 HANA. And lastly, we have the transformers, who are a combination of the previous two archetypes. Their digital transformation strategy involves both business and functional, and both business functional and technical transformation by adopting next-gen ERP, whilst also migrating to the cloud. So this is no longer just a lift and shift to the cloud, but a fundamental shift into a new digital space. In the next slide, we'll discuss this a little bit further, along with a fourth archetype not mentioned here. If we focus a little bit more on the transformation archetypes on this slide, and if we place the archetypes on an axis where technical transformation is on the vertical or the y-axis, we would see the migrators being placed over here on the top left. Business function transformation, if we place that on the horizontal or x-axis, this would result in the innovators being placed over here on the bottom right. Plotting the transformers would see them being placed over here on the top right, as they adopt both the technical and the business function transformation. All three of these archetypes are thought to be proactive in their adoption of next generation digital technology. They don't wait to be forced into this space and instead are usually eager to reap benefits resulting from their transformation into the next gen space. A fourth type that I introduce here is the minimalistic archetype. And these are comfortable with their existing digital assets or are more conservative when it comes to adopting new technology. What they do is they normally maintain, patch, and upgrade their existing assets when necessary and only make major leaps into new digital spaces when existing assets are forced into retirement or are no longer supported by vendors. This archetype is considered to be reactive as opposed to proactive. And the purpose of this webinar is really to help customers take the more proactive approach to digital transformation. And according to IDC, which is a market research firm specializing in information technology, although the majority of SAP customers fully intend on switching to S4 HANA before the 2027 deadline, 55% of the smallest and 81% of the largest customers have not yet even reached proof of concept phase. And our services are such that we can assist customers assess this effort and the costs involved to move into the next gen digital space, whether it is ERP conversions or migrations into the cloud or both. And I'll go into more detail later in the webinar what these services look like and what they entail, but know that our goal is to make the transformation as painless as possible for you. The next two slides in particular will deal with the impact of adopting cloud technology on businesses and dealing first with costs, cost over time. And as is typical in an organization, there are escalating costs with regard to physical or on-premise architecture. And this is due to a number of factors, such as inflation or increasing physical capacity to handle demand as businesses grow and such. And this increase in costs is simplistically depicted here, where the costs increase over time. However, adopting cloud technology, the costs over time can look like this, where there's an initial cost increase during the migration period, and this is called a migration bubble. However, following on from this, there's a stabilization of TCO, and following on from this, there's real cost savings potential. If we focus in more detail on the cost drivers for transformation to the cloud and look at how infrastructure capacity influences costs over time, I'd like to compare traditional on-premise infrastructure with cloud infrastructure. And typically what happens is that there is a general increase in demand over time as businesses grow or innovations are adopted, etc. And in a traditional on-prem environment, large capital expenditures would have to be made to cope with predicted demand. Now, the problem with this scenario is that A, predicted demand may not be very accurate, and B, this demand is not linear or constant, but it actually fluctuates depending on various factors. And in worst case scenarios, the capacity increases may not have kept pace with demand, resulting in potential business impact due to degraded performance or even downtime. But by adopting cloud technology, this uncertainty can be overcome due to what's called elastic cloud capacity, which is a real-time flexible adjustment of capacity according to demand, and this allows for real cost savings potential. Adopting cloud technology does not only allow for a reduction in capacity costs, but also allows for savings in other areas by eliminating the need for physical equipment, hardware repairs, and real estate for on-premise infrastructure. It also reduces spend on labor, licensing, compute, and physical costs. As an example, according to AWS Cloud Economics Benchmarking, there can be a 20 to 50% reduction in spend per SAP user. If we focus a bit more on S4 HANA for a bit after discussing cloud technology, we can unpack some of the benefits, of which there are many, and you'll be no doubt be aware of most of them, but I'll go over the main ones now anyway. If you don't already know, S stands for simple, and 4 represents SAP's fourth generation ERP application. So the major benefit for adopting S4 is performance, and this is realized by the HANA database, being that it's light years beyond its predecessors when it comes to speed and processing. And the tech behind this improvement is the in-memory database, which eliminates the constant fetching of data from hard disk to RAM. As is well known, hard disks are a bottleneck when it comes to retrieving data, as they are usually the slowest component. However, HANA gets around this by storing data in an in-memory database and combines row and column-based technology, also with parallel processing with a multi-core CPU architecture. Another benefit is SAP Fiori, which comes part and parcel with S4. And Fiori has been quite a success story for SAP, whose user interfaces have not been very popular up until now. The benefits of Fiori could take up an entire webinar, but just to emphasize that it incorporated a range of modern design principles, such as role-based applications. It's got a responsive design that in that apps work automatically on any device being used. It's far more simple and clutter-free with intuitive workflows. And basically, it results in a far more appealing interaction with the SAP application for end users when compared to the SAP GUI, which has complex menus requiring both a keyboard and a mouse. And lastly, S4 is not limited in terms of implementation, in that it can be hosted on-premise or in the cloud or a hybrid of the two. And this implementation can be customized and scaled according to company requirements and planning. So we've discussed cloud and S4 and the benefits for adopting either of these. We talk now more about the efforts involved in converting your ERP applications to S4. And for a lot of customers, this process can seem quite daunting, a bit like how to eat the proverbial elephant. And as the proverb goes, you do this one bite at a time. And you probably are already aware that the move to S4 HANA becomes mandatory by 2027, and this is when SAP ends support for ERP applications, versions prior to S4 HANA. And recall, I mentioned previously the migration archetypes, and this is where the minimalistic archetype would be caught. In other words, those that are forced to adopt next-gen technology. Now, bear in mind that the average conversion project to S4 is between 18 and 24 months, depending on the size and complexity of the effort. So it really does make sense to start now with determining the estimated effort. So yeah, the scope and effort for the move for some may seem insurmountable. So where do you even start? And this is why we at ETZ would like to offer you a safe pair of hands to guide you through this process. We collaborate with you and your in-house support and also any preferred vendor, and we hopefully provide you with a fresh perspective around the move. So that was the why. I can go into more on the how we intend on assisting you with your journey to S4. And firstly, we develop with you a pathway through the migration process and bypass confusing information and overwhelming coverage, and instead provide you with something that is relevant and simple for your business. And the key word here is relevant. The migration route that worked for somebody else may not necessarily work for your business, so we help you find the route that will work for you. We approach this process systematically, firstly by running the mandatory S4 readiness check, which is a very useful tool, but in our experience the undertaking for this is somewhat complex and painstaking. But we run the exercise for you in a fast and efficient process and then present and discuss the results with you. And during the assessment process, we hope that you will allow us to demonstrate the scalability, flexibility, and performance of the cloud. And we do this by prototyping your SAP system in a cloud environment, which you will have access to. And we run the readiness checks from there instead of on a live on-premise system. We can provide a second opinion on your migration efforts and help you make informed choices As included in our service is a detailed custom code scan that will identify customized code that you have in use and how much of this will either be redundant or will not work on the new simplified S4 HANA structures. And to hit home, 2027, it may seem far away, but it really isn't. In 5 years, it's 5 years that could disappear at a click of a mouse. So, and no organization wants to be caught with their technology falling by. So, in spite of the global rush to digital, organizations are still facing immense hurdles on the road to digitalization in the cloud. But just as with the proverb, the answer to the how is simple, and it's one bite at a time. So the migration to S4 does present a significant challenge for the customer, and the reason for this is that the move to S4 is not just a simple upgrade before, or relatively simple upgrade from one version of the application to another, but is instead a comprehensive move into a new application. And this requires usually one of two approaches. The first being a system conversion of your ERP system to S4. And this allows for you to maintain much of your already configured processes. The second approach is a greenfield approach where a fresh S4 system is installed, and the focus is more on converting your existing business processes to take advantage of the innovations offered by S4. So a migration strategy will require four things mainly, and the first is the knowledge and line of sight around your customization and modifications of your existing system, and how these will translate to S4. The second being the understanding of your business function compatibility with S4, and so that you know precisely which business functions will not be compatible, so that there is enough time and resources available to convert them. You need to know the costs that will be incurred and the amount of effort required, and develop a clear roadmap that takes these into consideration. And lastly, a migration route that takes all of these into consideration so that you are prepared for potential challenges. And this is so that the migration is more seamless than expected. We at ETZ hope to help you have an intelligent approach to your S4 migration. We do have extensive experience in the migration of SAP workloads, so we understand exactly what challenges may lie ahead and how to help you overcome them. And we'll collaborate with you to develop a clear roadmap of your migration, to develop a strategy, and to estimate the costs accurately. As mentioned previously, we will provision, or we hope to provision your existing SAP system as a proof of concept copy in the cloud, and then we analyze that system to establish precisely what the effort parameters are. And then you can then establish what impact the transition will have and evaluate the system performance and fine-tune the methodology required to make the migration to S4. So during the migration process, we help you to answer important questions such as, what method should be used to migrate to S4? The size of the S4 HANA database, what will that be after the conversion? How much effort will there be to convert your custom code? What business functions will be affected? And what is the most cost-effective, secure, and flexible method to manage your infrastructure before, during, and after the journey to S4? How does ETZ's Migration Primer service assist you in your move to S4? And there are four main benefits. The first being visibility into your customizations and modifications, and how these will have to be converted to ensure they continue working efficiently. By leveraging our extensive experience, and this is to discover what is needed to manage your S4 migration efficiently and within the right parameters. We do utilize the steps outlined in the SAP Activate methodology, and this includes a pre-built migration project template that will be customized for your specific journey. And again, we provision your system in the cloud as a POC copy, and then we analyze that system to determine your starting position. So what are the benefits to you as a customer for using MPS? Firstly, it's designed to save money on your migration preparations. And the reasons for this is that there are resource savings, financial resource savings when compared to an in-house effort. It also allows no distractions for your own resources and no overhead increase either. And this is by a certified and accredited SAP partner. The service is cloud-based, so no changes are made to your existing systems for the analysis. So there's significantly less risk. It's secure, and we can demonstrate to you the scalability and flexibility and performance of the cloud. And the outcome is a detailed and no obligation report on the current state of your system and the effort and cost required to convert to S4. I'd like to delve a little deeper into MPS and what it provides as a service. It consists of two main phases. The first of which is the SAP S4 HANA readiness check, which is a comprehensive and holistic analysis of your current ECC system. It includes the following areas. It checks your active business functions and determines their compatibility with S4. It performs a high-level analysis of your custom code to determine the dependency on objects that are affected by the S4 conversion. It provides an estimate of the target HANA database size after the conversion effort. It scans for business processes that have open statuses, such as open accounting entries, open sales documents, and such. It also provides a list of Fiori apps available in S4 that can replace existing transactions used in your ECC system. The readiness check is provided in an intuitive Fiori-based interactive dashboard, which you'll be given access to. The report is comprehensive, providing firstly an overview of the conversion effort, and also allowing you to select any area and drill down for further analysis and details. The second phase of the migration primer service is the custom code analysis. And why is this required in the first place? And the reason for this is that customers invest heavily in their custom code, and they will likely want this code to be usable in S4 after the conversion process. And over time, this custom code accumulates in the system to a considerable degree. And a significant portion of this code will not be compatible with S4 and will need to be adjusted. Now, the custom code analysis provides you with a comprehensive list of the items requiring adjustment and also what needs to be done for the code to work in the new version. And ETZ offers its own ATC system, or ABAP test cockpit, for this purpose. It's a pre-built and configured system, and it negates the need for you to provision your own ATC system. Now, what it does is it runs a remote scan and analysis of your system or on the POC copy that we stand up for you in the cloud. So the sequence of events that take place during the migration primer service. Firstly, we perform an export of your source production system, and we recommend the production system as this will provide the most accurate analysis of your migration effort. We then build a target cloud infrastructure, temporary cloud infrastructure for the service. We then build a POC copy of your source production system based on the export. We then load all the readiness check notes into the POC system. Then we run the readiness check scan and also the custom code analysis from our ATC system. After which we present the evaluation results to you. Okay, that's the end of the presentation. Thanks all. We do have a couple of questions I can see here. The first one is how long does MPS take? And that really depends on the effort, the effort to run running the necessary notes and actually run the analysis, and also depending on whether a POC in the cloud is required, but roughly 4 weeks for the process to complete. Mark and Marcy, there's a couple of other questions here. What do I need to do to sign up for MPS? I don't know if you guys want to chime in and answer some of these.
Hi, this is Mark Stanzial, and thank you for joining. You can reach out to any one of the team members. We will be following up along with the link to this presentation with all necessary contact information.
Another question is...
Mark, you want to take that first question that Tim had there? How do they sign up?
Did someone not hear me?
I did, but I just want to make sure. So we're going to send our information out, and
We're going to follow up with a thank you email to all that has joined, along with the link to the presentation, as well as our contact information,
Great, thank
phone
you.
numbers and email addresses.
Another question is if I'm already on the cloud, can the MPS still be done? And yes, the answer is of course yes, we can accommodate customers that are on premise already on the cloud. Next question is, what is the cost of MPS? Mark and Marcy?
Well, depending on as a baseline right now, depending on the size of the production environment, we're looking at a nominal fee of about $12,500 US.
Thank you. Mark, what differentiates ETZ Global's service from others?
I think our references speak for themselves. You know, we have done at least 25 of the MPS environments to date. Everybody says they can do it. Everybody does it a little bit differently. We'd like to, you know, we'd like to become, and I think we are thought leader thinkers, and we've been doing this for a number of years. I have to go back to my notes, but we have to date, we have over 200 implementations.
Thanks, Mark. Another question here is, do we offer functional assistance?
We do. We have partnered with one of our sister companies called Figlore, and they handle a great deal of our functional work. Marcy, if you want to expound a little bit upon that, that would be helpful.
Certainly. And again, welcome everyone. So yes, we've partnered with several other companies to help with the functional. ETZ Global also has functional, but we find that our focus is really on the technical side. So by partnering with others, we can bring the full breadth of the solution.
Thanks, Marcy. One other question here is, how many times have we run MPS? And I think that's already been answered. The last question I can see here is, can this be done in conjunction with my current service provider?
The answer to that is yes. We're doing three MPS assessments right now, working with third-party vendors.
Okay, that's all the questions. And again, thanks everyone for joining. That's it from my side, and we'd like to say goodbye from us at ETZ. Thanks very much for joining.
Thank you all for attending.
Okay.
Thank you.